and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And on today's episode, we are joined by our good friend of the show, Jason Hewitt from Pancake, Sports Illustrated, and Newsbreak app.
And now we're going to talk about Carolina Panthers fans' favorite topic, Sam Darnold, best and worst case scenarios for this year, and probably just how we expect him to actually do. So Sam Darnold has not had the greatest career so far. He hasn't played 16. Yeah, he hasn't started.
What a kind way of saying that, Jerry.
16 games. His rookie season honestly was probably his best, completing 57% of his passes, 2,800 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. In 2019, he completed 61% of his passes, 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. And last year was his worst, completing 2,200 yards, 19 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and played only 12 games. So, not the greatest.
Nine obviously touchdowns and 11 picks. Yes. Lord have mercy.
And you have to frame that in the Jets sphere, right? Like, how many quarterbacks would have been much better than that with the Jets? Hard to say, but obviously a lot of folks are saying that who was the coach there? Gase. Adam Gase is just such a terrible coach that no quarterback could have thrived in his system. We saw Tannehill leave the Gase system and has played pretty well for Tennessee, making a lot of people a lot of money in Tennessee.
Including himself.
Right, including himself. So obviously Panthers fans are hoping, me included, us included, I assume, that Sam Darnold follows that trend and gets away from Gase, comes to a Panthers team with a lot more talent. You know, even as bad as the offensive line is, it's better than what he had in New York, New Jersey. So he's going to have the opportunity here. What do we think, Jason? What do you think his season is going to look like this year?
Oh, man.
At the high end, what do you think his ceiling is this year?
Okay, ceiling. Okay, he has very, very good receiving core. He has McCaffrey. His O-line's bad. High end, assuming that the O-line is better than expected and he's better than expected, I'd say nah, because he only started 13 games or 12 games last year. Let's go.
Give me like a letter grade. What do you think the letter grade would be?
Okay, letter grade. I was gonna give touchdowns and interceptions, but letter grade, I give him like high end, like a B.
Okay, so high end, he's probably like a 13th, 14th QB in the league, something like that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that mid range. That'd be fine. I'd be fine with that.
That's a stepping stone.
Yeah, touchdowns and picks, I'd go like 25 and like I gotta be realistic. That dude is a turnover. I'll go 12 is a safe number. 25 and 12. That's a good year. That's a good year.
I was gonna say 25 and 12. I would be ecstatic from him. I think
that's the high end.
Well, in that's you got to think this is gonna have to be his first stepping stone. I'm not expecting him to come out this year and light it up. I mean, even high end, I don't see him doing a dramatic jump from 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year to like 30 and 10 or something.
Yeah.
I think 25, 12 to 14 interceptions is realistic. I do expect him to have a lot more yards than he's ever had. I do expect him to have about 4,500. A lot of these receivers here in Carolina can run after the catch. And he has good receivers and he has a great running back in the backfield that can have the I can't speak, but have the blitzers come into the box, and then he has a free reign on the outside.
He's got a lot more weapons.
A lot more weapons, and he just has to graduate. He struggled in college with making dumb mistakes.
Arm arrogance.
And then he went to the Jets and he continued to make those dumb mistakes. He was bad in the pocket. You're talking about a good offensive line. He did not throw well out of a clean pocket in New York. Now, I know Joe Brady is supposedly a great coordinator, but he needs to coordinate that out of him. And I'm going to go high end, 4,800 yards. I'm going to go with him on that. 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
So the most yards he's ever thrown is 3,024. And that was in 13 games, which is also the most games that he's ever started.
And he had Robbie Anderson.
Right.
That year.
So it sounds like, and this is kind of what I was thinking, was a little better than Teddy Bridgewater last year would be his ceiling for this coming season. Because, you know, these fans that are expecting him to come out and throw 30 touchdowns in his first season after those 3 seasons, that's completely unrealistic. And I wish they would stop doing that because they're going to be disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
But last year, Teddy Bridgewater, 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 3,700 yards, and that was in 15 games. So, yeah, I mean, what you guys are saying, somewhere between 22 and 25 touchdowns, somewhere between 10 and 15 interceptions, that's pretty realistic. And that's about as high as I could see it going. Would we all be happy with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Does that get the Panthers into the playoffs?
No.
Does that give the Panthers 8 or 9 wins?
I think
yes.
Okay.
That's Jason. I think that it depends on how much of a leap this defense takes if that gets them into the playoffs. If CMC's healthy all year, if that defense we have a lot of talent on the defensive side, but they're unproven talent. If that talent shows to be proven, then I think that could be fighting for a wild card team. Because you still have Christian McCaffrey running. You have Chuba Hubbard spelling him, and I think he's going to chew up a lot of yards on the ground as well this year. So,
yeah, I mean, and that's another thing, though, is that defense, you're expecting that defense, or not you're expecting, but in this scenario, that defense has to take a pretty massive jump from last year. Now, they looked better at the end of last year, but that was overall a below average defense last year.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're basically saying that if Sam Darnold is going to be, you know, average or slightly above average, that defense is probably going to have to be like a fringe top 5 defense to take the Panthers to the playoffs. Would you agree with that?
10. I say top 10.
Yeah. There's 7 teams in each conference that make the playoffs, right? So there's an extra wild card team again this year. So it's possible. It's possible.
It is.
So I'm going to go to Ryan Tannehill this year, or on this little topic. Ryan Tannehill threw for 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions last year. Now, they made the playoffs, and their defense was horrible. Yeah. So
that's a really good season for a quarterback.
Yeah. 3,800 yards is not a lot.
No, but 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, that's really good.
And the reason they got 33 touchdowns is because Derrick Henry chewed up a lot of those guys down there.
Sure did.
So, and again, I'm looking at this as maybe CMC and Chuba Hubbard can do the same thing for him. Derrick Henry's obviously a different back than CMC. That's just point blank. But I think
the production-wise, production-wise, they're, you know, overall production, they're fairly similar. And the pressure that they put on the defense. You could say CMC even puts more pressure on the defense because of his versatility. He can do a lot more. You've got to prepare for a lot more. You know, you talked about Ryan Tannehill, and I do want to just bring up Tannehill real quick because his first season post Adam Gase was 2,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Now, that was only starting 10 games.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you extrapolate that out, then that's, you know, pretty similar to last season. But the season before that, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 19 and 12. the season before that. So that's a dramatic improvement from those Adam Gase seasons to the post Adam Gase season. So I know we're kind of harping on that, but that's what we're praying for.
We're really
that's what happens.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then does Adam Gase ever work again? Because no,
he's working
right?
now. He's working now as an offensive coordinator in high school. He's got a coaching job.
Excuse. Does he ever work in the NFL again?
No, absolutely
no,
not.
No, sir.
I think even if Sam Darnold does not do well here, he flames out next year.
Yeah.
We're searching for another quarterback. I still think Adam Gase will not be in the NFL again. He may come as possibly a advisor, but I don't think he'll be a coach again.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about the ceiling. Let's talk about the floor. Jerry, what do you think on the low end Sam Darnold could be this year? I mean, is it better than what he was at New York?
Benched? Does that count?
Yeah, benched for who? We don't have
PJ Walker.
PJ.
Oh, God, you guys. You guys and your PJ Walker love.
I'm just saying, I don't think PJ Walker is going to be the future here, but
I think they're going to give Sam every opportunity.
I do too. I mean, they didn't draft Fields. I think they've already given him every opportunity.
Yeah. I just don't see him getting benched, at least not until very late in the season.
I say his numbers would be very similar to Teddy Bridgewater, about 3,500 yards. But I do see him doing the opposite of throwing, with this receiving core, I do not see him throwing under 15 touchdowns, but I could see him throwing about 18, 19 interceptions.
Yeah.
Jason,
honestly,
about the same.
It's going to be floor would be a Jameis season, in my opinion. So, he'll be explosive with the receivers that we have, but at the same time, like, he was a turnover machine. And I feel like he'll get excited and just launch that thing straight into double, triple coverage because he has trust in DJ Moore or his boy Robbie Anderson, which I understand, but like I've seen too many times where he would just misread and just throw it straight to a DB. And I'm like, bro, slant's wide open.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you both this. With what you just said, would you prefer a quarterback that has the cojones to throw it deep like that every once in a while? Or would you prefer Teddy Bridgewater, who in 2 minutes down by a touchdown,
frame your question,
check it
Jerry.
down?
Yeah.
Jerry's framing that question.
But I'm just saying that's what we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to deal with those interceptions. Because I know Steven and I were harping last year nonstop. Which is better for this team?
Yeah, I want the guy that's going to try to win the game.
What he said.
Sam Darnold, for his faults, I don't think he went out there and was scared to throw the ball. Yeah. Now, did he throw it to the right person every time? No. But again, the talent on that team was not good. Look at his receivers from last year. There's nobody there. I mean, what he's got now is just completely different, in terms of talent. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm excited to watch it. I really wish they would have drafted Justin Fields. I really wish they would have drafted a starting left tackle if they were going to go with Sam Darnold, just to give him the best opportunity and to give themselves the best opportunity to see what he is, because he may not be great this year and it might not be in his control. It might just be because he's getting sacked 50 times. I mean, so I don't know. The floor for me, I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, the talent is so different that he can't help but maybe throw 15 touchdowns. But like Jason was saying, I could see a 25 interception season as a floor, just throwing so many interceptions that you're taking yourselves out of games. And I think that's the floor, right? He's throwing the Panthers out of games.
Exactly.
Now, I want to bring this up. PFF did an expectation for this year. They have him expected 4,300 yards, 22.5 touchdowns, and 18.7 interceptions.
Okay.
I think that's very realistic.
That's
I mean,
kind of the
obviously
average
not
of
the
what we've been
half,
talking
but
about.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And if that's the realistic, and I guess that's the final question here is, we've talked ceiling, we've talked floor. What do you expect? Jason Hewitt, what do you expect to see from Sam Darnold this season?
I expect, honestly, the whole Jameis thing and our discussion about the floor, I really do think that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think he's just
low
going to be
expectations from
my expectations are not even on the floor. They're in
sub basement.
yeah, they're like in like the magma portion of this core. Like
Okay.
it's you gotta show me, dude. You gotta show me, and you haven't shown me yet. You had 3 years to show me. You had college to show me. I wasn't even hype on him coming out of college because he was a turnover machine then. And so now 3 years in the league, like I get that, you want to give people second chances and everything, but dude, like your third year and you're still not producing and you had your worst season. Like, look at how people talk about Carson Wentz now when he was an MVP candidate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it turns quick.
Jameis season, 30 touchdowns and like 25, 30 picks. I'm not high on the dude. I'm really not. He has a great heart. He seems like a good dude. The COVID thing is whatever. Like, okay, bro. But like in terms of like him in the locker room, like his teammates seem to like him. They seem to ride for him, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm not high on dude. I'm really not.
Jerry, what do you think? Realistic expectation.
I think I'm expecting about 4,600 yards, about 20 touchdowns, and about 18, 19 interceptions. And it's going to be that little bit just enough to keep the fan base and this organization strung along. So we start him again next year and he'll do the same thing. And in 2 years, we're going to be hunting for a quarterback because, yeah, I still think this was a bad move, but I think he's going to get this team to about 7 or 8 wins and string this organization along. And we're just going to hate it. We're going to hate.
So I played golf last weekend and I hit some beautiful shots, right? I hit a few 300-yard drives. I had a couple of really nice long putts and I shot a 110. Okay. Which is not good.
Okay. I don't know golf.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. At par is a 72. Okay. Oh, wow. I shot like 40 something over par. That's what you guys are talking about with Sam Darnold, right? He's going to make some beautiful throws. He's going to get the fans really excited in a few games, but overall, he's not going to have a good season. I'm going to take the opposite tact. I think he's going to have a good season. I'm going to put my trust in this Adam Gase curse. And he's, out of that situation. He's into, by all expectations or all, everybody around the league seems to love Matt Rule and think very highly of Joe Brady. He's got every opportunity. I'm just going to believe that he's going to take it and he's going to run with it. He's got talent. He's got great arm talent. I think he's going to put it all together. It's his 4th year in the league, his first year with really good talent. I'm going to say, 4,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, and he keeps the interceptions to about 12 or 13. Wow. And that the Panthers win 10 games. That's my expectation for him for this
I almost
season.
want to make an Amazon bet with you just because I lose them all.
Oh yeah, you're gonna like, yeah.
I'm gonna lean into my.
I'm not ready to do an Amazon bet on this, but that I one of us should be positive about it, so I'm gonna be the positive guy.
I got you.
And yeah, I mean, I want to root for him the whole season. I want it to work out. I mean, I think we all want it to work out, right?
Absolutely.
So. We'll see.
Got to show me, man.
Yeah. Jason, do you think Fields is going to start week 1 for the Bears?
Yeah. Who are they going to
He's
start?
going to beat out Andy Dalton?
Okay.
Their coach has already said
Hurt.
that Andy Dalton's going to start week 1. I don't know why you would believe that.
Yeah, man. What are we
It's the
doing?
NFL,
What are we
where
doing?
Everyone says what they mean. Do you think in 3
Matt Rule really
years-
loved Cam Newton, was excited to coach him.
Is this the defining? Was this a junction point for the Matt Rule era? Not drafting Justin Fields and going with Sam Darnold instead, because coaches lose their job, over this type of decision.
Absolutely. Oh, it's really bad. If Sam Darnold stinks it up, then absolutely.
Yeah,
I say no.
Absolutely.
He got a 7-year deal. This is year 2.
But we know
Sam
Tepper. Like if we're talking 2 years down the road, and Justin Fields is lighting it up, and Sam Darnold is not even in the league,
But
you
it
can
depends on
fire a
who's starting
coach
here.
anytime.
You got to think that they could grab somebody next year and start them that could be showing promise.
They could, but this is now under the David Tepper era. We're going into, what is this, year 3, and this is another starting quarterback.
This is year 2.
No, this is year 3 of David Tepper.
Oh, of
Year 2
David
of Matt Rule.
Tepper, but
Yeah,
of Matt Rule.
Yeah.
Year 2 of Matt Rule. Maybe it's year 4 of David Tepper, but either way, we're having now our 3rd straight year of a different starting quarterback starting the season.
Mhm.
And I don't want to be one of those teams,
I don't want-
that has
yeah.
a new starting quarterback every year. I hate that. And it's quite possible that Sam Darnold, even though they picked up his 5th-year option, it's quite possible he's not the starting quarterback next season.
Absolutely.
That is not a 0% chance. That is, you could say even as high as a 50% chance.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to do a podcast on State of the Union for David Tepper and how we feel this franchise has been run under him so far. I want to talk about that one day.
Shoot, sign me up. I'm there.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things to dig into there.
Mhm.
Didn't he say he wanted to be patient? He wanted the fans to be patient. Then he starts going after quarterbacks left and right, like Teddy Bridgewater, instead of just
we
starting.
could have a whole podcast on just the Teddy Bridgewater decision.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
Oh man. Everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.